6 days ago, Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, dropped its second season on Apple TV. Millions of people are watching a story about a secret government organization that hunts giant creatures. Creatures the public isn't supposed to know about. Most people think it's pure fiction. It isn't. Not entirely. Because there are real government programs, real classified encounters, and real cryptozoological investigations that predate the show by decades. And some of what's in those files is harder to explain than anything in the series. Today we go through what's actually in the record. The show's Monarch organization is inspired by a real concept. The idea that the U.S. government has been quietly cataloging unexplained biological entities since World War II. And while no agency called Monarch exists publicly, what does exist is a documented history of government-funded cryptozoological investigation that most people have never heard of. In 1958, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers commissioned a study on large unidentified mammals in the Pacific Northwest after a series of encounters by construction workers near Bluff Creek, California. The study was internal. It was never published. That same year, something was found at Bluff Creek that remains one of the most debated pieces of evidence in cryptozoological history. In October 1967, Roger Patterson and Bob Gemlin filmed what appeared to be a large bipedal creature in Bluff Creek. The footage, known as the Patterson-Gemlin film, has never been definitively proven to be a hoax. In 2002, a man named Bob Hieronymus claimed he was the man in the suit. But when biomechanical analysts from Disney and multiple universities studied the footage, they found something that complicated that claim. The creature's walking gait involves a hip structure and knee flexion angle that is physiologically impossible for a human in a suit. Jeff Meldrum, a professor of anatomy at Idaho State University, has spent 25 years studying Bigfoot track evidence. He's not a fringe figure. He's published in peer-reviewed journals. And his conclusion, some of these tracks show dermal ridges, fingerprint-equivalent features, that are consistent across hundreds of finds and extremely difficult to fake. But here's where it connects to the show. What Monarch, Legacy of Monsters gets right is this. If giant creatures existed, the government wouldn't announce it. The economic, psychological, and military implications would be catastrophic. And there's a documented precedent for exactly this kind of suppression. In 1977, the Japanese fishing vessel Zoyo Maru hauled up a massive decomposed creature off the coast of New Zealand. The carcass weighed 4,000 pounds. Photos were taken. Tissue samples were collected. The Japanese government issued a commemorative stamp. Then the samples were analyzed. The results were classified for nearly 20 years. When they were finally declassified in 1994, the official conclusion was basking shark. But basking sharks don't have 4 paddles, a long neck, or the skeletal structure photographed on that deck. Marine biologists who reviewed the photos publicly disagreed with the classification. That same year, 1994, the U.S. Navy's SOSUS hydrophone network, originally designed to track Soviet submarines, began picking up anomalous biological sounds in the deep Pacific that didn't match any known marine species. One of those recordings, nicknamed the Bloop, was originally classified. It was only partially released in 2005. The official explanation, icequake. But the frequency pattern of the bloop matches a biological vocalization profile, not geological movement. Scientists from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration filed an internal disagreement on the classification. That filing is still partially redacted. Here's what we know for certain. The government has historically classified biological finds that don't fit existing taxonomies. The SOSUS network was repurposed to track unexplained sounds, many of which remain unclassified. And the Pacific, which serves as the primary setting for both Monarch and the real-world sightings, is the least explored region on Earth. We have better maps of Mars than we do of the deep Pacific. Monarch. Legacy of Monsters didn't invent a secret government organization tracking impossible creatures. It described one. Whether it's Bigfoot in the Pacific Northwest, a surviving plesiosaur off New Zealand, or something in the deep ocean that hasn't been named yet, the pattern is the same. Encounter, classification, suppression. The show just gave it a name. If you want to go deeper on any of these cases, the Zuyo Maru carcass, the SOSUS recordings, or the Patterson-Gimlin biomechanics analysis? Drop it in the comments. We cover whatever you want to know. Subscribe if you want the full picture, not the official one.